Yeah, the problem with the bottom of that notch is it's really thick in that area. And if I want to make a pop out that's not crushed, I'm going to have to use a lot of force. And get lucky like that I don't pop that barb off. But I got lucky there. So it's a nice big pop out without removing the barb. And then eliminated the crushed looking area at the base of that notch there. No, shouldn't be too much trouble getting a pop out on this side. Just gonna make sure I don't snap off anything. I'll be putting some good pressure on it. Make sure I don't snap off that barb there or snap off the tip. Yeah. Nice big pop out. I can dress it up a little bit. Now, I'm not sure how well developed these stems are on this style. If they went back and pecked the edge of the stem, the edges, and made them really nice and neat. I don't know enough about the point to make that decision, but I'm going to dress it up a little bit. It's a little crude. I think the center notch was kind of deep, relatively deep and pronounced on these. We'll see. Let's see if I'm right. I'm just kind of doing it by memory. Sometimes I'll bring the book out and keep comparing the point to the book, but that gets kind of old. As far as watching the videos, that's the way I normally do it when I'm napping. Normally. But for the video, I watch these too, so I don't really like seeing myself going back and forth and checking the book. So what I'm doing now is I'm going back and I'm looking for thick spots at the bottom of these barbs, trying to get rid of those. If I see any white powdery crushed areas, I'll try to flake next to those so they can be cleared up. If you flake next to those powdery areas, usually the flake you're working on will expand enough to eliminate that powdery area. I wonder if there's a term for that. It's actually a crushed platform, right? Obsidian is notorious for those little tiny crushed platforms. Alright, so I'm almost done here. I'm not sure how delicate these barbs were. A lot of times on these late archaic points, they have delicate areas. So I'm going to make them as thin as I can. Okay, that's as thin as I dare to go for the video. I don't want to break the tip off again or break off a barb. I'm going to look up the name of this again because I can't remember it right now, but if you guys have more information on this type of point or see something I missed, you can tell me. I know that they weren't all that symmetrical, or they weren't perfectly made, so I don't really need to go into too much detail on the edge. But what I did is I tried to get this edge as thin as possible. Let's see if I can get a good close-up here in the light. I try to get as thin as I can. And leave the tops of those little protrusions. You know, I don't want to take those off. Those lend to the sharpness, very slight serrations, I guess. But it's hard to get that hollow ground or scooped out edge with steel. Up here I was having trouble with step fracturing, and you can kind of see that the edge, I tried to get it thin right there, right? But when it gets near the tip, it gets harder and harder to see, for one thing, and then if there is a step fracture, it's extremely hard to blow it away. And I tried to come in from this side a couple of times. It didn't work, and then I tried to come in from below the step fracture, and then I attacked it directly. And then I used the steel tool to try to pop off that step fracture there. But it still looks okay. It's still very sharp. So I try to get that edge as sharp as I can, especially near the tip. And on the real ones, I've noticed, I haven't really examined many Obsidian ones, but on chert ones, it gets duller as you go down. The tip, a lot of times, is very sharp. I think you can see how I did the edge on this, and tried to eliminate any of the white powdery areas, the crushed areas. I still have some at the bottom of that basal notch, but I didn't want to push my luck because it's easy to snap off the whole stem if you put a lot of pressure to try to get a clean pop out like I did with these two. I got two clean pop outs at the base of the barbs, which is what I like to do, even though sometimes the real points might not have those. I like to have those on there. It gives a clean finish to the bottom of the notch so it doesn't look all white and powdery and stalled out. Okay, so compared to the Elko has a much wider stem. Even though this one doesn't, this is not much different. This stem may be a little wide for this style, but there's two different kinds of obsidian. This is triple flow, and I don't know what type this is, but it's extremely nice. Very good quality. And if I had been a little more careful, I could have preserved the tip on this and made it much longer. I think I lost, let's see, I might have a tip down here somewhere. I lost at least a half an inch, maybe 3/4 of an inch off the top, off the tip. It would have been longer than this one. Okay. All right.